Welcome back. Let's begin with this. Organic versus inorganic molecules or compounds. Don't get confused by what a grocery store calls organic. To them, organic means we don't put pesticides on it. That's not what it means in science. Organic means it's made of carbons and hydrogens. Okay? It's got to have that, a carbon to hydrogen attachment. Alrighty? Anything that isn't that is inorganic. That's all there is to it. So salt, there's no carbon in there. Inorganic. Okay? But I do want to come over here real quick. I do want to show you some examples. I'll put them right here for right now. For example, C6H12O6. Glucose, carbon to hydrogen. Methane gas, carbon to hydrogen. But not CO2. It's carbon, but no hydrogen. So that may be a carbon molecule, but it's not organic. Alrighty? So what is organic? Carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. What we are made out of. We are organic organisms. And so are viruses, bacteria, funguses, plants, animals, people. Okay? All organic. Alright. Let's talk about what these things are. Is green easy to see? Okay. Carbohydrate. You know what carbohydrate means? Carbon and water. That is your basic breakdown of the most simplest of the carbohydrates. Okay? We're talking about what do we call a carbohydrate unit? It's called a saccharide. I think it's two C's. Okay? Is there an H in there? Oh. Should have looked this up. Saccharide. Okay? Yeah, please look it up and tell me if I'm misspelling this thing, because I don't want to be teaching my students the wrong thing. But I'm old and decrepit and I've been teaching since 8.
S-A-C-C-H.
S-A-C-C-H-A-R. Oh, but then A-R-I, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the H was over here. All right, good. Thank you. Okay, we call each unit a saccharide. Alrighty? I need you to put this on your flashcards. How do you know something is a carbohydrate by name? It ends in O-S-E. Ose. For example, glucose, lactose, fructose. See, what's lactose? Milk sugar. What's fructose?
Fruit sugar.
Fruit sugar. Okay? So, most of them end in ose. Make it very simple. All right? Okay. What is the purpose of a carbohydrate? Fast energy. That's why if you eat a bunch of donuts for breakfast, you crash before lunch. Because the energy's been used and now you got nothing. Okay? How much energy is in 1 gram of a carbohydrate? 4 calories. Okay? Boom. 10-4? All right. If I went to the grocery store, where would I go to get carbohydrates?
Bakery.
What?
Bakery.
The bakery, fruits and vegetables, the candy aisle. Okay? Okay. Everybody good? Now, lipids. Lipids are made of C's, H's, and O's. Not in the same ratio. Okay? But this is why if you eat too much candy, you get fat. Because it can be converted very easily. And if you're on a diet, this gets converted back to glucose so you can burn it off. Got it? Okay. Now, what do I call a unit of a lipid? We call a unit a glyceride. Okay? What if it's made of 3 units?
Triglyceride.
I know we've heard this. That's on your blood work. Your triglycerides. Okay. What is its purpose? Slow energy. It's mostly for storage. It contains 9 calories per gram. That's more than double carbohydrates. Okay? This is what yolk is, because it has to provide high density calories to the baby chicken that's growing inside the egg. Alrighty? Remember, there's no umbilical cord going to mama chicken to feed the baby chicken. Well, guess what? We don't have an umbilical cord for the first 3 months either. The placenta doesn't get created till after the 3 months. So, what do we eat as a little tiny fetus?
Corpus.
No? A yolk sac.
Oh.
We have a yolk sac too.
It's
a big yolk sac that gets smaller and smaller as we eat all that. And then by that time, the yolk sac becomes part of the umbilical cord where we are now exchanging blood nutrients with mom. Okay? But yeah, we have a yolk sac too. And that's why, if a person's on a diet, you want to make egg white omelets as opposed to with the yolks, because that's where all the fat is. 10-4? All right. So, where would I go in the grocery store if I wanted fat? Well, you get lard, you get bacon, right? What if you're a vegetarian or a vegan? What's got a lot of fat in it? Nuts and seeds. Why? Because it's the energy for the baby plant before it can grow out of the ground, make leaves, and make its own food. 10-4? So, baby plants, baby animals, baby people, we need these 9 calories. Alrighty? Think about it. Where do you get corn oil? From the corn kernel. That's the seed. Where do I get sunflower oil? From the sunflower seed. 10-4? Okay. How we doing? Hanging in there? Alright. So, lipids are for storing fats, but lipids are also used, we'll learn in a later chapter, to make some of your hormones. How do I know I'm looking at, so this was the OS, how do I know I'm looking at the name of something that's a lipid? It has the word stir, or it ends in OL, like steroid, or testosterone. Got it? Or aldosterone. Or OL. Cortisol. Cholesterol. Yeah? Okay. So, on my test, can you tell apart by the names ending what we're talking about? That's as deep as it's going to get at this level. Okay? Alrighty. There is one thing I want to talk about when it comes to lipids. I'm going to do it right here, and then we'll erase it, okay? And that is saturated versus unsaturated fat. Have you heard of those things? Okay. Let's do this together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons. Here, single bonds. Here, some double bonds. All right? Now, every carbon is in column 4, so it has exactly 4 electrons. And those 4 electrons have to go and bond with something. So, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bonds here. Got it? How many more do I need to add here?
2.
2?
2. 2. 3.
Got it? And at the end of each one, let's put a hydrogen. We're not going to worry about the oxygens because I don't want to make this too, esoteric for you. All right? Same thing here. How many do I make?
3.
3. Here?
2. No.
1, 2, 3. 1.
1.
Here.
1.
1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody got 4.
0.
Here.
2.
1, 2, 3, 4. Got it? So 1, and then here 3. Okay? So H. Okay, now, what we need to understand is that single bonds versus double bonds. All right? And if we were to just write the basic formula for this, I've got 5 C's, and how many H's do I have? I'll make it easy on you.
Yeah.
What's 2 times 5 plus 2?
12.
Exactly. That's how single bonds work. It's double the number of carbons plus 2, the 2 on the end. Got it? Now, if I have double bonds, it's still C5, but now it's H 5 times 2 minus 2.
8.
So it's 8. Got it? So, which one has more hydrogens? This guy or this guy? And he's the one we call saturated, because he's full of hydrogens. Don't put this on my test and expect me to be your friend. When I say a saturated fat is full of, and you choose fat. No. A saturated fat is not full of fat. It's full of what? Hydrogens. Okay? I'm saying that to my future students. So this is the unsaturated one. Well, my friends, which one is better for you? Saturated fats or unsaturated fats?
Unsaturated. No. I'm getting mixed up.
One or the other. Unsaturated fats. The corn oil as opposed to bacon fat.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
We want the plant fats. The plant fats are the double bonded fats with fewer hydrogens.
Weaker.
Now, I know what you're getting to. We're going to get to that in just a second. This one is full of hydrogens. Okay. Now, what makes a fat better for you or worse for you?
Whether or not it's easy to break down.
Whether it's easy for your body to break. Now, which one do you think is easier to break? Single bonds or double bonds?
Double bonds.
Okay. You see, we think in terms of linear. Got it? Meaning, if you and I were pulling on one rope, that might break easier than if you and I were pulling on 2 ropes that are twisted together. Got it? Well, that's linear thinking. That's not 3-dimensional thinking, which is what chemistry is. You see, if my hand was carbon and this was carbon, I have 4 electrons. Well, when these 2 electrons meet, that's a single bond. But guess where the next 2 electrons are? Facing straight up. Can these 2 meet? Not until I do what? Bend my thumb bond and then bend my finger bond. See how I'm doing it? By bending these 2 bonds, I've made them weaker than a straight single bond. So that's why double bonds are easier to break. And they prefer plant fats over animal fats, because your body will break it down faster. That's not the same as what about margarine versus butter? All I can say is, what do the chefs on those cooking channels use?
Butter.
Always butter. But butter's bad for you. Aha, see, here's what happens. Margarine is made from corn oil, but is corn oil solid at room temperature? No, it's liquid. Do you want to spread that on your toast? No. So they said, hey, Mr. Chemistry person, you just graduated from chemistry class. Can you help us make this liquid fat into a solid fat? And they said, sure. All you got to do is break these double bonds. But when you break those double bonds, you've got a loose here and here and here and here. Got it? So we got to add more hydrogens here, which we call hydrogenated fat, because we added hydrogens to it to make it have single bonds. Well, doesn't this look a lot like that? Yeah, that's why it's solid. But guess what? Because of the artificial process by which we use, this is now 2 steps away from plastic, which your body cannot digest, cannot understand. Okay? That's the problem. Well, we've had margarine on the market for 50 years. People lost weight or gained?
Gained.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. That's why all the cooks and whatnot use butter. Alrighty? Some use a whole stick every time they do their stuff. Woo. Hopefully they're cooking for more than one person. Alrighty? Are you with me? Margarine was originally used to fatten turkeys for Christmas or Thanksgiving. So what's it been doing to us? Okay, so you gotta be careful. Alright, cool beans? So when I say saturated versus unsaturated, animal fat, plant fat. Plant fat, better for you. Why? Double bonds. But don't turn them into single bonds by hydrogenating those oils. Okay? Everybody good? Alright. Let me erase this and we'll get back to the thing at hand. Okie dokie. Let's see. Proteins. Let's get to these words. A protein is made of C's, H, O, and N. There's nitrogen in a protein. We'll talk about the importance of getting rid of that nitrogen when we get to the digestive chapter. What do I call a unit of a protein? Peptide. Hey, do you see a pattern here? Yeah, okay. What's the purpose of a protein? Two. It's not for energy, okay? But it's two things. Structural, like your muscles, your hair, your skin, okay? And functional. What's functional? Your enzymes, your receptors, your antibodies, your hormones. Are you with me? And they have a special shape so they will work, right? As we said in the other video. So that's the purpose of them. And if we do need to use them for fuel, they have 4 calories. Okay? Again, that's the better one. That's why when an animal is starving and kills another animal, it eats the fat of that animal first. The fatty parts. Okay. How do I know I'm looking at a protein? By name, it ends in IN or it ends in INE. Okay? Like albumin, insulin, actin, myosin, or INE, epinephrine, thyroxine. Okay? Something's pronounced thyroxine, epinephrine or epinephrine, okay? But it's spelled INE. 10-4? All right. So that's how we tell those apart. Last but not least, the nucleic acids. Those are made of C's, H, O, N, and P, phosphates. The unit is called a nucleotide. See, there's an IDE again. And of course, what's its purpose? DNA and RNA. RNA to help you make proteins. DNA for 2 reasons. It tells you what you are. Your genetic code tells you you're human, that's a dog, that's a tree. Okay? And the DNA tells each cell in your body what to do today. Okay? Liver cell do liver things. Muscle cell do muscle things. Got it? Okay. All right, and we're not going to deal with the endings of those because we're not going to be necessarily talking about just the chemicals because we don't eat DNA for fuel. The DNA comes from the DNA we ate. Got it? We eat chicken meat, we take the DNA out and turn it into our DNA. We simply take the same 4 bases but rearrange them in the human way. All righty? Cool beans? All right, last but not least, prefixes for the numbers. What is the prefix for 1? Mono. So, ever heard of a monosaccharide? Yeah. You see, saccharides, especially the simple ones like glucose, are basically 6-sided compounds with a carbon at every corner, and hanging off that carbon is an H and an OH. An H and an OH. Got it? A carbon with an H and an OH. Stand for? And if I have one of these, it's a monosaccharide, like glucose, fructose. Okay? What if I have this attached to another one?
Disaccharide.
That's a disaccharide. Stand for? Okay. Sucrose, table sugar, is a disaccharide. It's glucose plus fructose. Okay? All right, and we know what 3 is, like our triglyceride. 3. Now, what's 4? Okay, it is tetra. It's not quanta or quattro. That's not 4. It's tetra. Now, where do we get tetra from? Well, let's keep it simple. What's the name of that little Game Boy where you stack little bricks on top of each other?
Tetris.
Tetris. Okay? Because each one had 4 sides. Alrighty? And of course, where do all the generals do their business? In the pentagon. It has 5 sides. Hex, like a hexagon. Hepta, hexa, hepta. Octa, like going to the octagon. Nona, sometimes nova. And deca, like how many years in a decade? 10, right? Anything higher than that, what he's going to call a poly. Okay? Want to cracker. All right. Last thing, just to make sure. Do we have some months named after this? Change that to September, October, November. Yeah, see, September is the 7th month, and October is the 8th month, and November is the 9th month, and December is the 10th month, right? Yeah, don't you be shaking your head like you got it. No, it's not. This is the 9th month. This is the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th month. Why is the 12th month called month number 10? And that's because the Romans thought that 10 was the perfect number. That's why the entire metric system is based on tens. So they created a calendar based on 10 months. Well, after years of using it, the people of the village, the farmers are going like, this calendar can't work. We're harvesting at the wrong time. We are, planting at the wrong time. We need 2 more months put in. And finally, they said, okay, we'll put in 2 months. We'll stick them in the middle of the year. And we're going to name them after 2 Caesars. Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. So we put in July and August. And just push these all down. Same names, just push them down by 2. Okay? All right. I think that about does it. Thank you all.